Today is the last day of our summer 7-day session. It's the 9th of January 2016. And we're going to take up another story from The Hidden Lamp, stories from 25 Centuries of Awakened Women, edited by Florence Kaplow and Susan Moon. And this story is called Lingzhao's Shining Grasses. And again, it involves the Pang family. This time, Layman Pang, Mrs. Pang, and Lingzhao, their daughter. Just a little bit more information about Layman Pang. As I said yesterday, he came to an awakening, first awakening, studying with Shute To Shichen, that's Sekito in Japanese. And here's the account of that awakening experience. And he, the term here used in Zen's Chinese heritage for Layman Pang is Pang Yun. The Yun means layman practitioner. Pang Yun met Zen master Shito. He asked him, "Who is the one who is not a companion to the 10,000 dharmas?" Shito quickly covered Pang Yun's mouth with his hand. Pang Yun suddenly had a realization. Who is the one who is not a companion to the 10,000 dharmas? You could say he's asking, who is the one who doesn't rely on the 10,000 dharmas, 10,000 things? Shito covers his mouth with his hand. Pang Yun's mouth. Later on, Layman Pang went to visit Masu, Baso, Japanese, and he asked exactly the same question. And Masu replied, "When you swallow all the water in the West River in one gulp, then I'll tell you." And on these words, Pang Yun had deeper realization. And he stayed in practice under Masu for 2 years following this realization. There's just one koan, number 42 in the Hikigan Roku, in which Layman Pang figures, and it's called Layman Pang's Beautiful Snowflakes. At a certain point, Layman Pang went and trained with another master, Yakusan in Japanese. And when he was leaving this particular temple, Yao Shan asked 10 of the students there, the practitioners, to go and see him off at the temple gate. And when they got there, it started to snow. And so Pang Yun pointed to the falling snowflakes and said, "Beautiful snowflakes, they fall nowhere." And one of these 10 students stepped forward and said, "Then where do they fall?" And Layman Pang came up to him and slapped him in the face. And the monk said, the student said, "Even a layman shouldn't be so crude." And then Pang Yun replied, "Though you call yourself a Zen student, old Yama won't let go of you." And old Yama is the Lord of the dead. And then the student replied, "What about you?" And again, the layman slapped him and said, "You look, but you are blind. You speak, but you are mute." And then there's a comment from Secho on this. He says, "When Pang first spoke, I would have made a snowball and hit him with it. It's an urgent question that he's asking of these students. Where do these snowflakes fall? Where does the rain fall? All our suffering comes out of our being unclear on this point. As for the other two characters in the story, we don't have any more information about Mrs. Pang. We pretty much said everything we have about her, though there may be more in the record of Layman Pang, I don't know. But we did, from the little bit that we have heard about her, she comes across as somebody down to earth and no nonsense, who was really able to creatively express the teachings freely. As far as Lingzhao goes, there are a couple of other stories about her. And this one relates to the story we're going to take up today. Once Layman Pang asked his daughter, "Some ancient said, 'Clear and brilliant are the meadow grasses. Clear and brilliant is the meaning of the ancestral teachers. How do you understand this?' Lingzhao said, 'So old and great, and yet you talk like this.' Layman Pang said, 'What would you say?' Lingzhao replied, 'Clear and brilliant are the meadow grasses. Clear and brilliant is the meaning of the ancestral teachers.' Layman Pang laughed. So what's going on here in this one? She seems to be criticizing him for what he says, and then she says exactly the same thing. Did she say the same thing, or was it different? There's another story in the Hidden Lamp about Lingzhao that we've actually looked at in Taisho and Sesshin maybe a couple of years ago. And it's called Lingzhao's Helping. One day, Layman Pang and his daughter Lingzhao were out selling bamboo baskets. Coming down off a bridge, the layman stumbled and fell. When Lingzhao saw this, she ran to her father's side and threw herself to the ground. "What are you doing?" cried the layman. "I saw you fall, so I'm helping," replied Lingzhao. "Luckily, no one was looking," replied the layman. So what's going on here? Why does Lingzhao fall down along with her father? And what does he mean when he says, "Luckily no one was looking"? Was he embarrassed about what Lingzhao was doing? It certainly was pretty strange. Actually, she's giving a beautiful demonstration here of how to help. In the layman's statement, "Luckily no one was looking," is integral to what Lingzhao did, the way in which she was helping. She wasn't standing back and feeling pity for her father who had fallen down. She got in there, right beside him. When Layman Pang says, "Luckily no one was looking," He's really affirming that, affirming Lingzhao's action, her joining with, getting alongside him. So often we judge, we stand back and we pass judgment on what's going on. We do that with others, and we certainly do it with ourselves when we fall down. We feel embarrassment, we feel shame, we imagine how others might be judging us, and all of this really gets in the way. There's a saying in Zen: when I fall down, I use the ground to get up. Right where we fall, at that very spot, is what we need to continue, to go forward. Our judgments often come out of preconceived ideas we have about how things should be. They come out of our opinions, our conditioning. How we see things, how we evaluate. I shouldn't be falling down. What if layman Pang had thought, oh, I'm an enlightened layman, I shouldn't fall down, I shouldn't trip, I must have been unmindful and not seen that bump in the bridge that I was crossing. Oh, terrible. It's just one way of seeing what happened. You could also see it completely differently. How extraordinary that I fall to the earth. Gravity. One cosmologist describes gravity as or that we could see gravity as being like like cosmic love, the thing that holds everything together. If it weren't for gravity, we'd all just fly off into outer space. Thank goodness for gravity. Thank goodness for that pull that holds us to this globe. That is proof of our being of the earth. There's the Rainer Maria Rilke poem about gravity. It's called Knots of Our Own Making. How surely gravity's law, strong as an ocean current, take hold of even the smallest thing and pulls it toward the heart of the world. Each thing, each stone, blossom, child is held in place. Only we in our arrogance push out beyond what we each belong to for some empty freedom. If we surrendered to Earth's intelligence, we could rise up rooted like trees. Instead, we entangle ourselves in knots of our own making and struggle, lonely and confused. So, like children, we begin again to learn from the things, because they are in God's heart. They have never left Him. falling down is something that scares us. When with the elderly, often a fall can kick off the last stage of life. So even when we're not old, a fall is a kind of intimation of death. It's a reminder that we're impermanent, that we're not infallible. So we miss the wonder. We try to imagine that we're somehow different from the rest of the things of the world, as Rainer Maria puts it. In our arrogance, we think that we shouldn't fall down. Now we turn to our story, our main story. Lingzhao's shining grasses. Layman Pang was sitting in his thatched cottage one day, studying the sutras. Difficult, 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 he suddenly exclaimed, like trying to store 10 bushels of sesame seed in the top of a tree. Easy, 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 his wife, laywoman Pang, answered. It's like touching your feet to the ground when you get out of bed. Neither difficult nor easy, said their daughter Lingzhao. It's like the teachings of the ancestors shining on the 100 grass tips. Neither difficult nor easy. It's like the teachings of the ancestors shining on the 100 grass tips. So we get three presentations here from husband and wife and daughter. First we have layman Pang, who exclaims, difficult, 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 like trying to store 10 bushels of sesame seed in the top of a tree. Who hasn't felt this? Who hasn't exclaimed to themselves at different times, difficult, this is difficult. Sesshin is really hard. Life is really hard. It isn't easy being a human, being alive. We suffer. We struggle. And it's where we start when we come to practice. It's what gets us to practice in the first place, some recognition of our suffering and some recognition of the part we play in that suffering, that it's not all just coming from the outside. But the irony is that the very things that have brought us to the practice are what we have to deal with when we practice. We don't somehow check them all at the door when we come in to the zendo. We have to face ourselves. And that is the last thing we want to do. At a certain point in my first 7-day sesshin, I was just sort of bowled over by the enormity of the task. Really just seeing the strength and pervasiveness of the ego like a light was shined on it. And it felt really quite overwhelming. It felt like I had in front of me the labours of Hercules to undertake. Or like Sisyphus, pushing a boulder up a steep hill and just getting almost to the top of the hill, and then the boulder rolls back down the hill. Layman Pang says it's like trying to store 10 bushels of sesame seed in the top of a tree. You can imagine these big baskets full of these tiny little seeds, trying to get them up into the tree, balance them on the branches, and of course it won't work. The baskets just will tumble down, the seeds will get blown around by the wind. It seems the whole thing seems futile. Everything just disperses, falls apart. Of course, being in this world is like that. To have a body and mind is to be subject to dispersal, to decay. All compounded things come apart sooner or later. And compounded things are also complex often, fraught. Our relationships can be complicated, tangled. Our problems can feel intractable. And our world is full of intractable suffering. You just have to look around to see it. And it's fair to say that Layman Pang is right. This world of ours is difficult. There's difficulty inherent in living in this world. Even the Buddha had to deal with all kinds of difficulties. He had dissent and discord in his Sangha. He was the object of jealousy at times, blame, even attempts on his life. And of course, he at the end of his life, he got sick, poisoned by a bad food, and he died. Not even being a Buddha could save him from that. The thing is that if we just only see things from this perspective, if we only see the limitations, the edges of things, you could say going back to our quantum metaphor, if we only see the particle nature of phenomena, then it can lead to depression, paralysis, despair, suicide even. It can make everything we do seem like it's not worth it. A waste of time. Mrs. Pang says something very different. She contradicts her husband. She says, easy, easy, easy. It's like touching your feet to the ground when you get out of bed. So here we have the presentation of the other side of reality. That everything is right here, now. That there's no lack. All the seeming contradictions in this world are in fact all of a piece, one undivided and perfect whole. It's as simple as putting your feet on the ground when you get out of bed. All you have to do is turn your mind to this moment and experience it completely. There's teaching of the Chinese master Huang Bo, Obaku in Japanese. He says, this pure mind, the source of everything, shines on everything forever and with the brilliance of its own perfection. But people of the world do not awake to it, regarding only that which sees, hears, feels and knows as mind. Blinded by their own sight, hearing, feeling and knowing, they do not perceive the spiritual brilliance of the source substance. If they would only eliminate all conceptual thought, in a flash that source substance would manifest itself like the sun shining through the void and illuminating the whole universe without hindrance or bounds. Therefore, if you students of the way seek to progress through seeing, hearing, feeling or knowing, when you are deprived of your perceptions, your way to mind will be cut off and you will find nowhere to enter. Only realize that though the real mind is expressed in these perceptions, it neither forms part of them nor is separate from them. You should not start reasoning from these perceptions, nor allow them to give rise to conceptual thought. Yet nor should you seek the one mind apart from them, or abandon them in your pursuit of the Dharma. Do not keep them or abandon them, nor dwell in them, nor cleave to them. Above, below, and around you, all is spontaneously existing, for there is nowhere which is outside the Buddha mind. We can all access this unbounded Buddha mind if we drop our thinking, if we drop our reasoning. It's possible for us. So we're a realm of oneness. It's the realm where we know for ourselves that there's nothing outside of us, nothing outside ourselves, no thing which is excluded. Even just the tiniest little taste of this can strengthen our faith enormously and give us more steadiness in the practice. But there's a danger here too. If we cling to these experiences of oneness, then it can be a real problem. We try to get back to that sense of ease that is so wonderful, which comes with this experience of our wave-like nature, our connectedness to everything. In Zen, there's getting stuck in in oneness and in emptiness is actually described as being a devil's cave. In the harmony of relative and absolute, we say to experience the absolute is not yet enlightenment. And if we cling to this ease, we're also ignoring the fact of suffering and just how much suffering there is in this world. Lingzhao's response brings these two extreme views, we could say, and they are both views. She brings these two together. She says, neither difficult nor easy. It's like the teachings of the ancestors shining on the 100 grass tips. Neither difficult nor easy. It's like the teachings of the ancestors shining on the 100 grass tips. You can imagine that Lingzhao might have spent quite a lot of time out on the plains gathering bamboo and other fibers for making her baskets. And she would often see these fields of grass, like a golden sea moving in the wind. Grasses never stop moving. They're constantly shifting and changing as the breezes pass across them. And the tips move the most of all. Grasses moving in the wind it's a beautiful embodiment of the emptiness of form. Yes, there's a form there, but it's constantly changing, constantly moving. You can't grasp the shape of that field of grass because it's always in movement, flowing. Sometimes in Zen literature, grasses are used as a metaphor for phenomena. The things of this changing world. Because everything is actually like that grass. It's just often not quite so easy to see that everything in this phenomenal world is moving and shifting and changing. It's like the teachings of the ancestors shining on the 100 grass tips. The 100 grass tips are all the different forms that our life takes. Now we're at work, doing our job. Now at home, being a parent or a spouse. Now we're having to deal with the phone company or somebody asking for money at the door. Now it's dealing with a difficult person at work. Demands of the family. Where are we? Where is ourself in all of this? All these changes, all these different roles that we play and tasks that we have to do. Lingzhao says the Dharma, the teaching of the ancestors, is right there at the tips of those 100 grasses. There's suffering in this world of change, inevitably. But right where that suffering is, there's also a way out, a way forward. There's something that shines. As Huang Bo said, this pure mind, the source of everything, shines on everything forever and with the brilliance of its own perfection. Not easy, not difficult. We get caught up in our ideas about ease and difficulty. But in truth, it's neither and it's both. One master said, difficulty and ease alternate. Therein lies the way. He didn't say the way lay in difficulty, and he didn't say it lay in ease. We have to give up both and join with whatever is arising. We can put our absolute trust in the fact that things will change. None of it is permanent. None of it defines us. None of what happens to us defines us. We'll finish with a poem from Rumi. His full name is Jalaluddin Rumi, and this is from the Essential Rumi, translated by Coleman Barks and others. Say, I am you. I am dust particles in sunlight. I am the round sun. To the bits of dust I say, stay. To the sun, keep moving. I am morning mist and the breathing of evening. I am wind in the top of a grove and surf on the cliff. Mast, rudder, helmsman and keel. I am also the coral reef that they founder on. I am a tree with a trained parrot in its branches. Silence, thought and voice. The musical air coming through a flute, a spark of stone, a flickering in metal. Both candle and the moth crazy around it. Rose and the nightingale lost in the fragrance. I am all orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift, and the falling away. What is and what isn't. You who know Jalaluddin, you, the one in all, say who I am. Say, I am you. We'll stop there and recite the 4 vows.